Michael Carrick, meanwhile, looks like he will be the permanent manager at Manchester United. That's what we're hearing. A 2-year deal is to be offered to the man who currently is, of course, the interim coach at Old Trafford. Done a great job, led them into the Champions League next season. Craig, when we've discussed in the past, you said, look, just give me a year, see what happens. Does this really make a difference? 1 year, 2 year?
Look, Man United fans get their knickers in a twist. When you
Man United fans.
Well, all right, everybody. When you even discuss the fact that somebody outside Michael Carrick might get the job.
Yes.
It's like a siege mentality. But I don't have an issue with Michael Carrick getting the job. I don't. It's a roll of the dice. This club will tell you, looking back at previous appointments, Amorim, Solskjaer, Van Gaal, Mourinho, experienced to less experienced to even less with Solskjaer. It's a roll of the dice here. So I don't have an issue with it because he's done a very good job. Do I think necessary? And I said this before, a month ago, and this is when United fans got upset. You can have done a great job, but not necessarily be the best man for the job. The two things can be true. For example, Areola's out there, Alonso's out there. Okay, unlikely to manage United because he's a Liverpool player. But he's thrown his hat in the ring, and if that's the way United want to go, I personally don't have an issue with it. Do I think there are better managers out there that are potentially available? I do, but this is the decision they've made, and if it goes wrong, then obviously they'll be criticised.
I think he's earned the right to be the manager. He's took them from where they were playing particularly poorly. We always kept on saying, and I remember having an argument with Don Hutchinson on air, when he kept on saying, the players aren't good enough, no manager can take them on. Well, Michael Carrick has taken on the same players and done a fairly decent job with them. They weren't bad players. They weren't the best players.
Right.
But their sort of recruitment wasn't as bad as everybody was saying. It was easy to say the players are rubbish. The manager's not at fault. The manager was at fault, and Michael Carrick has done a decent job.
This is Man United, right? Right, who want to get back to the top of the tree in England and Europe. The argument would be, Robbo, yeah, I don't disagree. He's done brilliant. He picked up the slack. And by the way, Omar Baradi and Jason Wilcox and all these behind the scenes that were getting pelters, if it had gone the other way, they wouldn't even have been able to sit and watch a game at Old Trafford. So they were sitting there, they were wiping the sweat when it started to go better. But it still doesn't get away from the fact this is Man United, and is he the best man
Going to your
there?
point about Areola, now there's somebody that has done it and proved himself in the Premier League. When they've gone and got managers from abroad before, they would, Amorim, he's done so well in Portugal, he's this manager, he's that manager. When he came over, then he couldn't cope with it, and he couldn't cope with the players, he couldn't cope with the systems of play that other teams are playing, whatever it was, he couldn't cope with it. So maybe a manager like Areola, who has done it in the Premier League for a couple of seasons, might be better.
But have we seen examples of that in the past with, say, a Thomas Frank taking the step up? Obviously,
but
Graham Potter making the step up.
Before we got into them, I don't have an issue, and I mean this in all sincerity, I don't have an issue with this decision. It is a roll of the dice. But what I would say, and it was the same thing with Solskjaer, was if there was any other of these elite clubs, and United, although they haven't been playing elite football the last few years, certainly are an elite level club. There's no getting away from that. But if any of these other clubs in any league were looking for a manager, would Michael Carrick be in the list for any of them? And the answer would be no. So it is a very difficult decision to make for Man United. And if they want to go that way, fine. But you can't have two sides to a story here. But, they're obviously rolling the dice the way they are.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think one thing about Carrick, in my opinion, is, I've been speaking to lots of United fans, and I'm almost throwing a bit of doubt in there, saying, are you sure this is the right guy? Is this the right fit?
You're doing that on purpose?
You're nasty.
Yeah, I'm like, is you sure this is the right thing? And every single one of them says, we want Carrick to stay. I think he's speaking their language, and some of the decisions that he's made through the season, they've just been really obvious.
But this is the same. This is the same support that when Eric Ten Hag won the FA Cup here, they were saying,
I don't remember that
give
game.
him more time.
And they
don't remember that game.
They wanted Solskjaer to carry on.
This is
and they gave him a new contract.
What happens when he has a blip? So far,
they'll give him because it's him.
Because
it's him, they'll give him more time.
Right, I see.
Like I say, when they say he speaks his language,
you can only judge a manager when they start to have bad performances, bad results, and then you see how they react to that. How they react in the press, how they react on the pitch, what changes they make throughout games, what they do with the players, off the field. That's when you judge a manager. And at the moment, He hasn't been through that. He went through it at Middlesbrough slightly and got the sack.
Yeah, obviously,
A
two
bit
completely
different
different, completely different clubs. But I think, in my mind, as I say, he's put Kobe Mainoo into the side.
Yes. Yep.
Amarim said previously he cannot play. He's not good enough. He's put Bruno Fernandes slightly further up. Fernandes might break the assist record this season. He's doing stuff which the fans like to see. They were winning games, and as the stats were showing, they've won 10 games since he's been in charge in the Premier League. That is as good as anybody.
But Nedham, he's doing stuff that almost everybody.
It's so
could do.
simple.
Yeah, he's doing stuff that almost everybody was going. What is it? What? Why is he not? Why is he playing Fernandes as deep as he is? Why is he not doing it? Why is he not doing that? And I'm not taking away from what he's. But those things, he's gone back to basics. He went back to basics with the back four, with Maguire, and when Martinez came back in, he's got some performances out of from Heaven and Yoro. Shaw's been fit and better
the whole season.
And so he's and he's a smart guy. He's played the game at the highest level. He's looked at what he's got and thought, right, I need him there and him, and let's do the basics and we'll go from here. I think that is much easier when you're interim manager than when you get the job full time. The sort of pressure cranks up.
The problem we also have is when Craig's saying they needed an elite manager for an elite club. How many elite managers are there in the world these days? Who would you say go around? Irialou, he's a good manager, so we don't know he's
What's your boy
an elite.
Conte doing? Although you love him.
But I think he's had his time in England, he has a row with the board every so often, and he wants to have a fight with
loyalty
everybody.
to him.
I still like him as a coach.
You still got those posters up in your room?
Yeah, I have still got photos. Yeah, and I want his wig as well. That's what I'm really looking forward to. But he wouldn't give it to me. But I'm not sure there's that many elite managers in the world these days.